The history of WWE has been Vince McMahon taking the company in drastically different directions throughout the years. McMahon gaining power in the early 80s created the current version of WWE as a national turned international company and a global brand. The old days of just having shows in New York were long gone due to Vince wanting to expand beyond his father's goals. WWE would see 7 different eras from the early 1980s to the current day. Each chapter has an argument for being the best due to fans usually gravitating towards which era made them the happiest. The changes would see McMahon looking to truly embrace different sides of the presentation. Every era of WWE will be ranked according to the overall entertainment value of the time and how it holds up compared to others. Welcome to Honor Wrestling Club, and in today's video we're counting down every WWE era ranked from worst to best. However, before we crack on with the list, I'd just like to take a moment to firstly welcome you to Honor Wrestling Club. It does mean a lot to us that you're here, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend a little bit of it here with us. And if you are new here, be sure to give us a subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you never miss out on any of the fun content we produce here at Honor Wrestling Club, and click that thumbs up button to show your appreciation for us. Welcome to the club. Now, without further ado, let's crack on with the list with number 8, the New Generation Era, that just wanted to keep wrestling kid-friendly. Vince McMahon realised that changes were needed when the company was under fire during the steroid trials. Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage were at the end of their WWE runs when McMahon put his eggs in the basket of new stars like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Razor Ramon and Yokozuna. Michaels and Hart were viewed as the 2 top stars of the New Generation Era, which improved the in-ring quality of WWE drastically. The matches to take place in the New Generation Era were dramatically better than those of the Golden Age. WWE did struggle to build new characters quickly, but they soon began to thrive, by setting up a brighter future with this movement. After a year or so of completely unenthused content, the focus on new names and more focused storytelling brought about a new wave of renewed interest and popularity. The match quality shot upward, and this would prove to be a great precursor to perhaps WWE's greatest ever era. Most fans look back on the New Generation Era poorly due to WWE reaching all-time lows in viewership, weekly ratings, and money just pouring out of the promotion. But as mentioned, this did lay the groundwork for not only the best time for WWE later on, but also gave people like Eric Bischoff the idea to make WCW more realistic and branch away from the cartoony characters that were ever present in the early 1990s. In number 7, we have the PG era that holds up better than most realise. The PG era is viewed as polarising due to the biggest change in the TV PG rating. WWE abandoned the TV-14 guidelines to try and appeal to the family-friendly audience, and it worked. John Cena was the face of the company throughout this run, with countless classic matches against Edge, Batista and many others. WWE also gave the spotlight to new stars in the main event picture with strong results. Jeff Hardy becoming a main eventer, and CM Punk's Summer of Punk were 2 of the highlights of this time. The Undertaker's best WrestleMania matches also took place in the PG era due to having better stories. The PG era is widely thought to be the downfall of WWE, but during that time, ratings were still incredibly high, the company had a lot of mainstream attention, and the roster was full of legitimate stars and future legends. Weekly TV was adapted to fit a more family-friendly audience, which wasn't ideal for a lot of fans, but there were still plenty of long-term stories and fantastic matches, with the era perhaps getting a stricter rap that it deserves. Pay-per-views such as WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble felt bigger and bigger as years went by, with the PG era helping to put Mania in bigger stadiums all around the continent. In number 6 we have the Renaissance era, which saw a change of leadership. As will be talked about a bit in the next century, WWE is officially no longer in the hands of Vince McMahon and is being ushered into the new period that has been called the Renaissance era, or the Triple H era. WrestleMania 40 has been cited as the night that everything changed, with names such as Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest and Jade Cargill all picking up major wins on the grandest stage of them all. WWE's calendar is also seeing them venture across the globe much more often, with premium live events happening in France, Berlin, Scotland, Saudi Arabia, Puerto Rico, and many more. This change in leadership has been seen as a massive positive, with talent proclaiming their excitement for this change and what's to come. And should we do this list again in a few more years' time, this era could find itself much higher on this list. In number 5, we have the New Era, which gave women much more respect. With the New Era officially in the rearview mirror, fans can now look back on many historic events that happened in professional wrestling at this time. Speaking in terms of just WWE, fans saw the first ever Women's WrestleMania main event at WrestleMania 35, the crowning of multiple Black World Champions, and the beginning of what would be Roman Reigns as the Tribal Chief. Acknowledge him. Looking outside the WWE bubble, however, the promotion will receive its first true major competition since World Championship Wrestling in the form of All Elite Wrestling, with names such as Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, and later CM Punk all joining the new promotion instead of the WWE. There was a brief break in the fun around 2020 when the pandemic started, and it created the oddest time in professional wrestling when shows had to be held in empty arenas or stadiums filled with LED screens of fans at home, which caused many fans to walk away from the promotion. Major returns happened during this period though, of Daniel Bryan, Edge, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, which shook the foundation of the company. Obviously CM Punk's return wasn't to WWE, it was to wrestling as a whole, but still huge. Some of these were the biggest moments that fans could ever imagine. Toward the end of the new era though, management also changed hands, with Vince McMahon being forced out of the WWE, leaving the promotion in the hands of Paul Triple H Levesque and Nick Khan. In number 4, we have the Golden Era, which was the start of the WWF. The big expansion of WWE took place during the Golden Age, when Hulk Hogan became the face of the company, and the face of professional wrestling as a whole. Vince McMahon's vision of a character like Hogan leading the way, the concept of WrestleMania creating a new business model as well, helps WWE grow to a force never before seen in professional wrestling, and really never seen again since. Characters such as Hogan, Savage, Piper and Ultimate Warrior led the company to huge success. However, it is hard to compare the Golden Age to other eras since there were so few important matches and events per year. Hogan rarely defended the title, and WWE mostly had squash matches, making this era less celebrated than others between the ropes. During the Golden Age, WWE expanded into developing larger-than-life superstars, which helped boost the product to a wider level, with WrestleMania being brought into existence, which is certainly enough to stake a claim, this being one of the most integral stages in the company's existence. However, the overall quality, aside from the immense popularity of the biggest stars, did lack quite a lot. The focus was on wrestlers who would hit the simplest of moves, but get the biggest reactions, and whilst that was a formula that worked, it meant that the lower cards suffered tremendously, even with many talented performers, and some not so talented ones too. Even with WrestleMania, the company had much more room to grow and time to grow, and it would continue to do so. In number 3, we have the reality era that blurred the lines of kayfabe. The shortest era for WWE came from 2014 to 2016 in the form of the reality era. WWE embraced the reality in storylines such as Daniel Bryan rising to the top due to fans demanding it. Other stars such as AJ Styles, Kevin Owens and The Shield broke out to make WWE feel fresher than it had in many years. WWE had quite a few defining moments during this short time, such as the ending of The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak and all 3 Shield members winning gold. The biggest downfall of the reality era, however, was it ending much too soon, with WWE losing touch with that style in the new era. Just before the reality era began, WWE's product was experiencing somewhat of a lull, and the change of focus to new names brought about a completely rejuvenated feeling about television. The reign of the authority on top may have felt like a bit of a pain at the time, but looking back, it brought about some hugely enjoyable moments with names such as Seth freaking Rollins and Daniel Bryan. Unfortunately, not every popular name was capitalised on, and bad booking crept its way in between the cracks, making it not only perfect. The ever-constant push of Roman Reigns at the time, when fans wanted anyone but him, and the over-reliance on part-timers such as Brock Lesnar and Goldberg to hold belts, and not even appear on most pay-per-views, was also heavily criticised. In number 2, we have the Ruthless Aggression Era, which, whilst being a cool-down period, it had some of the best in-ring action WWE has ever seen. WWE found a way to bring many strong aspects of the product together during the Ruthless Aggression Era. This was a rare time when Vince McMahon named the era on television. The movement led to names such as John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar debuting and eventually hitting their goal as top stars. The Undertaker and Triple H continued to thrive in the new time and had arguably the most successful chapters of their respective careers. And even unsung heroes of the company such as Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho and Edge received main event runs. WWE starting the brand split was a huge success and helped make the Ruthless Aggression Era a special time in company history. There were several great things about the Ruthless Aggression Era, with the wrestling quality being at a constant high, the stories being full of grit and intensity, and a direct focus on building up new stars that would help carry the company forward for many years to come. Many names from previous eras adapted perfectly to fit within this new regime, and everything coming together following the brand split, with Raw and SmackDown feeling like two different entities which offered fans a chance to see so many huge established stars, but also many new ones. The company also had the benefit of riding high after the biggest period in its history, the Attitude Era, and used that momentum to push those aforementioned names like Cena and Lesnar to incredible heights that can rival that of legends such as Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan. And number 1, we have the Attitude Era, which was the absolute peak of WWE. Ah yes, it's the one you knew would be number 1 when you clicked on the video. Almost to the point of anticlimax, the Attitude Era comes in at number 1. The success of WWE was so strong that during the Attitude Era, it became an impossible task to argue against it. Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Mick Foley and The Undertaker were just the first historic names to thrive in the main event scene at this time. WWE having both Austin and Rock was the only time that two stars of that magnitude were leading the same era. Other company areas, such as the tag division, were more vital than ever, with the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian leading the way. The Attitude Era did have some abysmal storylines and tough shows to watch, in 1999 especially, but the talent always made it interesting. WWE had an all-star lineup of talent, creating the strongest impact in mainstream pop culture, and because of how segmented and nicheified entertainment is nowadays, WWE will likely never be as hot in the mainstream pop culture as they were here. The match quality might not have always been the best, and it paled in comparison to the in-ring action that the future eras such as the Ruthless Aggression or Reality Era would usher in. As mentioned, storylines weren't always the best, and fans had to deal with things like Beaver cleavage and Mae Young birthing a hand. Despite all of that though, fans were still heavily invested, with countless eyes glued to their television set every Monday to see what was happening during the Monday Night Wars between WCW and WWE. Even today the company still relies on the usage of these big names, such as The Rock returning every once in a while, or Stone Cold Steve Austin getting a second chance at a retirement match against Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And there you have it, there's our list. So what do you think? What do you think is the best era in WWE history? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button and the notification bell to make sure you never miss out on any of the content we produce here at Honor Wrestling Club. Be sure to share this video around with your friends, show it to your parents, confuse them. However, until next time, I'd just like to thank you for watching and welcome to the club. See ya!